Jack Harris looked at the stars through the glass dome of Lunar Base Alpha. He had been stationed here for 3 years now, watching over Earth from the moon. As the chief communications officer, his job was to scan for signals from deep space. Most days were quiet. Today was not one of those days. The alarm had started at 3:17 a.m. Earth time, a series of strange signals coming from beyond Pluto. At first, Jack thought it was just space noise, maybe a dying star or a comet. But then the patterns became clear. These were not random. They were structured, organized, and getting stronger. "Beth, take a look at this," he called to his colleague who was checking systems at another station. Beth Miller walked over, her eyes going wide as she saw the screen. "Those are not natural signals." "No," Jack agreed. "I think we need to call Earth." Within an hour, the United Earth Space Command was online. General Claire Williams stared at them through the video link, her face serious as she processed what they were telling her. "You're sure these are artificial signals?" she asked. "Yes, ma'am," Jack said. "And they're moving toward us. Fast." 2 days later, the truth could no longer be hidden. Strange ships had entered the solar system. They were huge, like floating cities, and there were dozens of them. News networks all over Earth showed the same pictures. People were scared but also excited. Humans had wondered for so long if they were alone in the universe. Now they had their answer. World leaders met in an emergency session. They decided to send a welcome message. Earth's most powerful radio dishes pointed to the sky and sent greetings in all human languages. The answer came back in perfect English. "We are the Zorn Collective. Your planet has resources we need. Surrender them to us and some of you may live. Resist and you will be destroyed." No one had expected this. Panic spread across Earth. Some people ran to the countryside. Others formed lines at stores to buy food and water. Many prayed. The world's military forces went on high alert. Every ship, plane, and weapon was made ready. But deep down, everyone knew the truth. If these aliens could cross the stars, their weapons were probably far stronger than anything humans had. Jack watched it all from the moon. The lunar base was now part of Earth's defense network. They had installed laser cannons and missile launchers, but these felt like toys compared to the massive alien ships. "Do you think we have a chance?" Beth asked him as they watched the alien fleet move closer to Earth. Jack wanted to lie, to say everything would be fine, but he respected her too much for that. "I don't know, but we have to try." The first attack came 3 days later. One of the alien ships fired a bright beam at a military base in the Pacific. The entire island disappeared, leaving only steam rising from the ocean. The message was clear. The Zorn could destroy Earth piece by piece if they wanted to. World leaders tried to talk again. They offered to share resources, to work together. The Zorn didn't answer. Instead, they took out 3 more military bases around the world. Then something happened that the aliens probably didn't expect. Humans stopped fighting each other and united. Old enemies became allies overnight. Every scientist, engineer, and soldier worked together to find a way to fight back. Jack and Beth were called from the moon to join a special team at a hidden base under the Rocky Mountains. The best minds on Earth were there, looking for a weakness in the alien ships. "Their energy shields stop our weapons," explained Dr. Ryan Lee, a scientist who had been studying the alien technology. "But we've noticed something. The shields flicker for a split second when they fire their main weapons. If we could hit them exactly at that moment..." It was a small chance, but it was something. They needed to get this information to the remaining Earth ships. Jack was put in charge of a secure communications network. Beth worked with the weapons team to calculate the exact timing needed. For 3 weeks, they worked without stopping. Outside, the situation got worse. The Zorn had started landing on Earth, setting up bases and taking resources. They didn't seem to care about the humans living there. People were forced to leave their homes. Those who fought back disappeared. Finally, the plan was ready. Earth would attack with everything it had left, focusing on one alien ship at a time. The timing had to be perfect. The day of the attack, Jack sat at his communication station, sending coded messages to ships and ground forces all over the world. Beth stood nearby, watching the screens that showed the positions of alien ships. All units in position, Jack said. Waiting for the signal. General Williams nodded. Begin the attack. Across the world, human forces fired at the alien ships. Most shots bounced off their shields. But where the timing was perfect, where the missiles and lasers hit just as the aliens fired their weapons, the damage was done. One Zorn ship exploded over the Atlantic Ocean, then another, near Australia. The aliens seemed confused by the sudden change. Their perfect invasion was no longer so perfect, but they were still powerful. They hit back hard, destroying cities and military bases. The human forces kept fighting, using their new knowledge to damage more ships. It was working, but the cost was high. Jack watched the battle screens, sending new orders as the situation changed. Beth counted the human and alien losses, her face getting sadder with each number. "We're hurting them," she said, "but they're hurting us more." Jack nodded. "We need something bigger. This won't be enough." As he said this, an alert flashed on his screen. A message from a science team in Europe. They had found something in a crashed alien ship. A weakness much bigger than the shield flicker. Something that might turn the whole war around. Jack read the message twice to make sure he understood. Then he turned to Beth, hope in his eyes for the first time in weeks. "Get General Williams," he said. "Now." The fight for Earth had just begun. And maybe, just maybe, humans had a real chance after all. General Williams looked at the report Jack had given her. The room was silent as she read. Everyone watched her face, trying to guess what the report said. "Are they sure about this?" she asked finally. Jack nodded. The science team found it in the crashed ship's computer. The Zorn ships are connected to each other through some kind of energy network. They share power and information. If we can break into that network, we might be able to shut them all down at once, Beth finished. The general stood up straight. "How do we break into their network?" Dr. Lee stepped forward. He looked tired. No one had slept much in weeks. "The crashed ship still has working parts. We think we can use its communication system to send a signal that looks like it's coming from another Zorn ship." "And then what?" asked the general. "Then we send a virus," Dr. Lee said. "Something that will tell their ships to turn off their shields and weapons." It was a good plan, maybe their only plan, but it would not be easy. The crashed ship was in Europe and the Zorn controlled most of that area now. They would have to sneak in, fix the ship's systems, and send the signal without being caught. General Williams called for volunteers. Jack and Beth were the first to raise their hands. They knew the communication systems better than anyone. 10 soldiers also volunteered, along with Dr. Lee and 2 other scientists. They left that night in a small, unmarked plane. It flew low to avoid being seen on radar. The trip was long and scary. Twice they had to hide from Zorn ships passing overhead. They landed in a forest in what used to be France. The crashed alien ship was 10 miles away. They would have to walk the rest of the way and stay hidden. "The Zorn have patrols all through this area," said Captain Sam Green, the leader of the soldier team. "We move only at night." The group set up a small camp hidden under the trees. During the day, they slept and planned. At night, they moved closer to their target. On the 3rd night, they got their first close look at a Zorn. A patrol passed less than 50 feet from where they were hiding. The aliens were tall and thin with forearms and skin that seemed to glow slightly in the dark. They carried weapons unlike anything humans had seen before. "Their eyes are different from ours," whispered Dr. Lee after the patrol had passed. "They might not see the same way we do. That could help us." On the 4th night, they reached the crashed ship. It was huge, even broken into pieces. The main part was as big as a football field. Zorn soldiers guarded it, walking around the outside with lights and weapons. "We need a distraction," said Captain Green. Half of the soldiers went to the far side of the ship. They set off small explosions to draw the guards away. It worked. When most of the Zorn ran to check the noise, the rest of the team slipped inside the ship through a hole in its side. Inside, everything was strange. The walls looked like they were made of metal, but they felt soft, almost alive. The lights came from glowing lines that ran along the floors and ceilings. Dr. Lee led them to what he thought was the communication room. It was filled with curved panels and strange symbols. "This will take time," he said, opening his computer and connecting it to the alien systems. Jack and Beth helped him. They had studied the Zorn signals and thought they understood how they worked. But the alien technology was complex. Outside, they could hear gunfire. The soldiers were fighting the Zorn guards. They didn't have much time. "I found it," said Dr. Lee after what seemed like hours. "This is the network connection. Now we need to create our virus." Jack worked on making the virus while Beth helped Dr. Lee keep the connection stable. The sounds of fighting got closer. The Zorn were pushing the soldiers back toward the ship. "How much longer?" asked Captain Green through the radio. He sounded hurt. "Almost there," Jack said, typing quickly. "Just a few more minutes." The captain's voice was tight with pain. "We don't have a few more minutes." Just then, a blast hit the side of the ship. The room shook. Part of the ceiling fell in. One of the scientists was hit and didn't move again. "Now, Jack!" Beth shouted. "Send it now!" Jack hit the final key. The virus entered the Zorn network. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the glowing lines on the walls and floor began to flicker. "Did it work?" Beth asked. Jack checked his computer. "I think so. The virus is spreading through their network." They didn't wait to see more. They grabbed their equipment and ran for the exit. Outside, the battle was still going. But something had changed. The Zorn weapons were not working as well. Some had stopped firing completely. "Fall back to the extraction point," Captain Green ordered over the radio. He was leaning against a tree, holding his side where blood soaked his uniform. The team ran back toward the forest carrying their wounded. Behind them, the crashed ship's remaining systems were shutting down. They could only hope the same thing was happening to Zorn ships all over Earth and in orbit. They reached their hidden camp just as the sun was rising. 3 soldiers had not made it back. Dr. Lee worked on treating the wounded while Jack set up the radio to contact headquarters. "Base, this is Tiger Team. Mission complete. Virus deployed. Requesting status update." For a long time, there was only static. Then a voice came through, breaking and full of noise, but clear enough to understand. "Tiger Team, this is Base. It's working. Zorn ships in orbit are losing power. Ground forces are confused and disorganized. We're launching counterattacks worldwide." A cheer went up from the tired team. Beth hugged Jack, both of them crying with relief and exhaustion. "This is just the beginning," Captain Green said, his voice weak but determined. "The Zorn will try. To fix their systems, we need to hit them while they're down." Jack nodded. The captain was right. The virus had given them an opening, but the war was far from over. Earth was still badly damaged. Many people had died. The road ahead would be long and hard. But for the first time since the Zorn arrived, humans had real hope. They had found a weakness in the powerful aliens. They had shown that Earth would not fall easily. As the morning sun rose over the forest, Jack looked up at the sky. Somewhere up there, Zorn ships were failing, and human ships were fighting back. The tide was turning. Humanity's wrath had been unleashed. 3 months had passed since the virus attack. Earth was still at war, but things had changed. The Zorn were no longer winning easily. Humans had taken back many cities and regions. The alien ships in space were fewer now. Jack sat in a meeting room at the new United Earth Command Center. The old one had been destroyed early in the war. This one was built underground, safe from Zorn attacks. Around the table sat military leaders, scientists, and key workers from all over the world. General Williams stood at the front of the room. Maps and pictures covered the walls behind her. Some showed damaged Zorn ships. Others showed areas where humans had won back control. "The virus worked better than we hoped," she said. "It shut down half their fleet and confused the rest. But the Zorn are fixing their systems. They're learning to block our attacks." A man in a lab coat stood up. He was Dr. Martin, the head of the science team now that Dr. Lee had died from his wounds. "We've studied more crashed ships," he said. "The Zorn are not just here for resources, they're running from something. There are signs they lost a war somewhere else. Earth might be their last chance. This was new information. Jack looked at Beth, who sat next to him. Her eyes were wide with surprise. If they're desperate, they'll fight harder, Captain Green said. He had recovered from his wounds and now led a special team that hunted Zorn patrols. Yes, agreed General Williams. But it also means they might not have as many ships left as we feared. We may have already destroyed a large part of their total force. The meeting went on for hours. They talked about new weapons made from Zorn technology. They planned attacks on the main Zorn bases. They discussed what to do with captured aliens. Finally, General Williams got to the most important point. We found their main ship. It's hiding on the far side of the moon. The room went quiet. Everyone knew what this meant. The main ship would hold the Zorn leaders. It would control all other ships. Taking it down could end the war. How do we reach it? Someone asked. We don't have ships that can go that far anymore. Jack raised his hand. We do now, he said. The engineering team has been fixing a Zorn scout ship we captured. It's small, but it works. It can reach the moon, Beth added. And we've learned enough about their language to send signals that sound like we're one of them. We could get close without them knowing. General Williams nodded. That's the plan. A small team will take the captured ship to the moon. They'll plant bombs on the main ship's engines and key systems. Then they'll get out before the bombs go off. It's a suicide mission, said Captain Green quietly. No, the general said firmly. We've planned a way out. But it will be very dangerous. I need volunteers. Jack and Beth looked at each other. Without speaking, they both raised their hands. So did Captain Green and 5 other people around the table. 2 days later, they were at the launch site. The captured Zorn ship was smaller than the others they had seen. It was sleek and silver, shaped like a drop of water. Inside, it had been changed to work for humans, with added seats and air systems. Time to go, said Captain Green, who would lead the mission. Jack said goodbye to friends who had come to see them off. Many hugged him and wished him luck. Some cried. Everyone knew the danger of this mission. The team climbed into the ship. Jack and Beth sat at the front where they would handle communications and navigation. The ship hummed to life, its alien engines glowing blue. Launch in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, called the control room over the radio. The ship rose smoothly, much faster than human rockets. In seconds, they were high above Earth. In minutes, they were in space. Jack had seen Earth from space before, during his time at the moon base. But it looked different now. Large areas were dark where cities used to glow at night. Other areas showed the scars of battles and Zorn mining operations. Stay focused, Captain Green reminded them. We need to look and sound like a Zorn ship. Beth sent out the signals they had prepared. They claimed to be a scout ship returning from a mission to Mars. The signals were in the Zorn language, which they still didn't fully understand. But it had to be good enough. The trip to the moon took only a few hours in the fast alien ship. As they came around to the far side, they saw it. The main Zorn ship was enormous, like a floating city. Smaller ships moved around it like bees around a hive. They're asking for our identification again, Beth said, listening to the incoming signals. I'm sending the codes we prepared. Everyone held their breath. If the Zorn realized they were humans, they would be destroyed instantly. After a long moment, a signal came back. The Zorn were telling them where to land. It worked, Beth whispered. They think we're one of them. The ship moved toward the landing area on the huge main ship. As they got closer, they could see Zorn moving around inside through large windows. There were thousands of them. Remember the plan, said Captain Green. We land, plant the bombs, and leave. We have 30 minutes before the first Zorn scout team usually reports in person. That's our window. They landed smoothly in a large bay with other small ships. No one came to meet them, which was good. The Zorn didn't seem to use welcome parties. The team put on spacesuits that had been modified to look like Zorn equipment from a distance. Then they split into 3 groups. Jack and Beth would go to the communication center. Captain Green and 2 others would target the engines. The rest would place bombs in power areas. Stay on schedule, Captain Green said. Back here in 20 minutes. No matter what. They left the ship and entered the huge Zorn mothership. Now the real mission began, and the fate of Earth depended on their success. Jack and Beth moved carefully through the halls of the giant Zorn ship. Their fake Zorn suits seemed to be working. The few aliens they passed barely looked at them. The Zorn were tall, with 4 arms and skin that glowed slightly. They moved, with strange flowing steps. Left at the next turn, Beth whispered. They had studied maps made from scans of smaller Zorn ships. They hoped the big ship was laid out the same way. The hall opened into a large room filled with curved panels and glowing screens. This had to be the communication center. About 10 Zorn worked at different stations. How do we do this without them seeing us? Jack wondered. Beth pointed to a small door on the far side of the room. That might be a control area. If we can get in there, maybe we can plant the bombs without being seen. They waited until the Zorn workers were all looking away, then slipped along the wall toward the door. It opened automatically when they got close. Inside was a small room with what looked like power systems for the communication equipment. Perfect, Jack said. He pulled 4 small bombs from his pack. They were made to look like Zorn technology but contained powerful explosives. He placed them on key power nodes while Beth watched the door. Someone's coming, she warned. They pressed against the wall as the door opened. A Zorn entered, moving straight to one of the panels. It began pressing buttons and adjusting settings. Jack and Beth stayed completely still. The Zorn was less than 3 feet away. If it turned, it would see them. The alien worked for what seemed like forever. Jack's heart beat so hard he was sure the Zorn would hear it. Finally it finished and left without looking around. That was close, Beth whispered. Let's finish and get out. They set the last bomb and left the small room. Now they had to get back to their ship without being noticed. Meanwhile, Captain Green and his team had reached the engine room. It was huge, with machines bigger than houses. Zorn engineers worked everywhere. We'll never get close to the main engines, said Linda, one of the soldiers with him. There are too many of them. The captain thought quickly. We don't need to. Look there. He pointed to power lines running along the ceiling. Those feed energy to the engines. If we put our bombs there, it will do the same job. They climbed up maintenance ladders to reach the high power lines. The Zorn below didn't look up. The team placed their bombs where they would do the most damage. The third team, led by Officer Paul Kim, had found the power center. It was less guarded than they expected. They placed bombs quickly and were the first to head back to the ship. Jack and Beth were halfway back when alarms started to sound. Red lights flashed in the hallways. Zorn ran past them, not paying attention to the 2 humans in their fake Zorn suits. What's happening? Beth asked. Did they find one of our teams? Jack listened to the announcements coming over speakers in the Zorn language. He knew only a few words, but it was enough. They're not talking about us, he said. They're saying something about they found us and prepare weapons. I think something else is attacking the Zorn. They hurried back toward their ship. When they reached the landing bay, they found Captain Green and most of his team already there. Where's Paul's team? Jack asked. Already inside, the captain said. We need to go now. Something's happening. They boarded their ship just as a huge boom shook the entire Zorn mothership. Alarms screamed louder. Through the windows, they could see Zorn ships launching. What are they fighting? Beth wondered as she started the engines. The small ship lifted off from the bay floor. As they flew out of the mothership, they saw it. Another fleet of alien ships, different from the Zorn. These were dark red and shaped like throwing stars. They were firing on the Zorn ships. More aliens? Jack was shocked. Who are they? Don't know, don't care, said Captain Green. Let's set off our bombs and get out of here while they're distracted. Beth flew their ship away from the battle. When they were a safe distance away, Jack pressed the detonator. For a moment, nothing happened. Then explosions bloomed across the huge Zorn mothership. First, the communication center went dark. Then the power systems failed. Finally, the engines exploded in a massive fireball that tore the back of the ship apart. Direct hit, shouted Paul, punching the air. We did it. But they had no time to celebrate. Both alien fleets had noticed their small ship. A Zorn fighter turned toward them. So did one of the new red ships. "Get us out of here," Captain Green ordered. Full speed back to Earth. Beth pushed the engines as hard as they would go. The ship shot away from the moon. Behind them, the battle raged. The wounded Zorn mothership was now being attacked by the red ships. Other Zorn vessels fought back, but they were caught by surprise. "Who are these new aliens?" Linda asked as they watched the battle fade behind them. "I don't know," Jack said. "But they must be who the Zorn were running from." Dr. Martin was right. The trip back to Earth was tense. They didn't know if they would be followed, but no ships came after them. When they landed at the secret base, General Williams was waiting. "Mission successful," reported Captain Green. "The Zorn mothership is destroyed." "But there's something else, ma'am." Another alien fleet showed up. They attacked the Zorn. The general's face showed surprise, then concern. "Are they following you?" "No," said Beth. They seemed more interested in the Zorn. The news spread quickly. The Zorn forces on Earth started to fall apart without their main ship. Human armies pushed forward, taking back more land every day. The remaining Zorn ships in orbit tried to flee, but many were destroyed by Earth's new weapons made from Zorn technology. A week later, Jack stood with Beth and General Williams watching a screen that showed images from a space telescope. The moon was visible, and around it, the remains of the Zorn mothership floated like broken toys. The new red ships were still there, moving slowly through the debris. "Have they tried to contact us?" Jack asked. "Not yet," said the general. "We've sent messages, but no answer." "So we destroyed one alien invasion," Beth said quietly. "Only to find another one waiting." "At least this time," said the general. "We're ready. The Zorn gave us new technology, new weapons, and most importantly, they taught us that humanity can fight back. We're stronger now." Jack looked at the red ships on the screen. A new challenge. Waited. But after facing the Zorn and winning, he felt hope, not fear. Humanity had faced its first space enemy and survived. Whatever came next, they would face it together. 2 months passed after the destruction of the Zorn mothership. Earth was healing. Cities were being rebuilt. Fields were planted again. The remaining Zorn on the planet had either been captured or had fled into the wilderness. But the red alien ship still circled the moon. They had not attacked Earth, but they had not left either. They seemed to be watching. Jack sat in a new control room built on top of a mountain. Large screens showed the red ships. Other screens showed the new defense systems humans had built using Zorn technology. Earth was not helpless anymore. "Any response to our messages?" Jack asked the communication team. "Nothing clear," said a young operator named Lily. "We pick up signals from them, but we can't understand the language. It's nothing like Zorn." Beth entered the room carrying a tablet. She had been working with Dr. Martin's team to study the red ships. "We have some new information," she said. "The telescope images show writing on their ships. We think their name might be the Krell." General Williams joined them, looking at the screens with concerned eyes. "What do they want? If they helped us by attacking the Zorn, why don't they talk to us?" No one had an answer. The mystery of the red ships, the Krell, continued for weeks. Earth prepared for the worst. New weapons were built. Shelters were dug deep underground. People trained for another war, even as they tried to rebuild from the last one. Then one day something changed. The Krell ships moved. 3 of them left the moon and headed toward Earth. Alarms sounded in the control room. Jack and Beth ran to their stations. General Williams called all defense forces to be ready. "Are they attacking?" the general asked. "Their weapons are not active," Jack reported, watching the sensor readings. "They're moving slowly. This doesn't look like an attack." The 3 Krell ships entered Earth's atmosphere. They flew over the ocean, then slowed to a stop above the United Earth Command headquarters. They just hovered there, silent and waiting. They could have attacked at any time, Beth said quietly. "They must want something else." A new signal came through on all channels. The screens in the control room filled with strange symbols. "It's their language," Lily said, working quickly at her computer. I'm running it through our translation program. We've been working on this since they arrived. Slowly, the symbols changed to English words. The message was simple. We wish to speak. We will send one. You send one. General Williams looked around the room. They want to talk. They're asking for a meeting. It could be a trap, warned Captain Green, who had been promoted after the mission to the Zorn ship. If they wanted to destroy us, they could have done it already, Jack said. I think we should meet them. The general thought for a moment, then nodded. Who should go? Everyone looked at Jack. He had been part of this from the beginning. He had helped find the first alien signals. He had helped destroy the Zorn mothership. I'll go, he said, feeling both scared and excited. The meeting place was set for a flat area near the headquarters. Soldiers created a large open space and placed a single table with 2 chairs in the center. Defense systems watched from hidden positions all around, but they were told not to fire unless Jack was attacked. Jack sat at the table and waited. Above, one of the Krell ships opened and something floated down. As it got closer, Jack could see it was a single alien. It was nothing like the Zorn. The Krell was round, almost like a ball, with multiple thin arms extending from its center. Its skin was deep red, matching its ship's. It had no obvious head, but several small black spots that might have been eyes were spread across its body. The Krell landed gently on the other chair. A small device floated beside it. When the Krell made sounds, clicks and whistles, the device spoke in English. We are Krell. We follow Zorn. Zorn destroy many worlds. Jack leaned forward. The Zorn attacked us too, we fought back. The Krell made a motion that might have been nodding. Humans fight well, other worlds fall quickly. Humans destroy Zorn mothership, unexpected. Why didn't you help us sooner? Jack asked. Why watch from the moon? Need to understand humans. Many species fight like animals when scared. Attack anything. Humans organize, plan, use enemy technology. Interesting. Jack realized the Krell had been testing them, watching to see what humans would do. And now, what do you want from us? The Krell's body changed color slightly, becoming a deeper red. Zorn not finished. More Zorn in galaxy. Will return. Krell fight Zorn for many years. Many Krell worlds destroyed. You want our help? Jack asked, surprised. Humans clever, brave, good fighters. Together maybe stop Zorn forever. Jack hadn't expected this. The Krell weren't invaders. They were looking for allies. I need to discuss this with our leaders, he said. The Krell agreed. Jack returned to the command center and told everyone what the Krell had said. There was much discussion. Some people didn't trust the aliens. Others saw a chance to make friends in space. Finally, General Williams made a decision. If the Zorn are coming back, we need friends. Tell the Krell we will work with them. Jack returned to the meeting place. The Krell was still waiting. Jack told it that humans agreed to join forces against the Zorn. Good, said the Krell through its translator. We'll share technology. We'll teach humans to travel stars. It extended one thin arm. Jack reached out and touched it gently. The first human-Krell handshake. Over the next year, everything changed. The Krell taught humans how to build better ships, stronger weapons, and faster communication systems. Humans shared their creativity and determination. Together, they prepared for the return of the Zorn. 5 human ships, including one commanded by Jack, joined the Krell fleet. Beth led the team that created a new communication system so humans and Krell could talk to each other more easily. Captain Yi. Green trained soldiers from both species to fight together. And when the new Zorn fleet finally arrived at the edge of the solar system, they found not a helpless planet, but a united force waiting for them. The Zorn sent their usual message: surrender, or be destroyed. The answer came from a human Krell ship at the front of the defense line. Jack sent the message himself. Zorn fleet, this is Earth. We do not surrender, we do not fall. Turn back now or face the combined might of humanity and the Krell. You have 1 hour to leave our system. The Zorn didn't leave. Instead, they attacked. But this time, Earth was ready. The battle was long and hard. Ships were lost on both sides. But in the end, the Zorn fled. As Jack watched the enemy ships retreat from the bridge of his ship, he thought about how far humanity had come. From a single planet to allies with an alien race, from victims to warriors, from the hunted to the hunters. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Earth would not fall easily, and when threatened, humanity's wrath was a force that even the stars would remember.